Hello guys, welcome back. In the attempt of making most of the applications using the open source models, in this video I'm going to talk about chat with website. I have already created one video earlier about chat with website using the OpenAI models, and as you can see here using LangChain and Streamlit. One of the viewer asked me if it is possible to use the open source model. So that is the attempt I'm going to do here. And for that, here is the dependencies first, because I'm going to use the Ollama, because if you want to use the open source models locally, then Ollama is the best option. So the dependency is Ollama, and then we need to install the open source models. It can be anything Mistral, Llama 2 or whatever it is in the Ollama website. And what is being used technology wise, it's LangChain, Chainlit, Streamlit, LangSmith, and ChromaDB. So by the end of the video, you will have two, let's say I'm showing you two different things. One, I'm going to replicate the chat with website with open source models. And the next one is also because this one handles just one URL. And I will show you another applications with Chainlit where you can already let's say, provide multiple URLs and have the conversation with those URLs. Let's get started. Okay, this is the GitHub repository. As you can see here, chat with website, and I'm going to add more content into the same, let's say, the repository, which is like 7 months older, right? For this, to get started, go to this code icon, and from here, SSH or HTTP, according to you, just go here and copy this, right? And then you can go to the terminal. Let me go to the terminal. I have already cloned this repository, so chat with website, so I don't need to go through this. But for you, you can go with the chat with website and open in any IDE you want. I'm going to open this in VS Code, right? So VS Code is here. So yeah, I have opened this in VS Code, and this is the all the content that is now in the updated repository, and I will walk you through step by step now in this readme file. Here is the links, or if you want to use the OpenAI model, because this is just the updated version in that existing repository. So for example, here there is chat with website OpenAI. For that, you need to have the OpenAI key, right? So that's why I have written still here OpenAI. There is Ollama, and we'll be using Mistral. I'll show you also how to quickly change the model to Llama 2, and LangChain, Streamlit, and Chainlit for deploying, right? Two different applications. What is the requirement? I recommend you to have Python 3.9 or later, but it might work any of those. But just a reminder that if it does not work, please have this greater than 3.9. And how to do this? As I said, you can fork the repository if you want, or just clone it. And this is the step I already showed you. You need to go inside this chat with website. I'm now here, as you can see, chat with website. The next thing is you need to copy the in example.env to .env if you want to provide the environment variables. The link is here if you want to go with OpenAI. For example, here example.env. Here is the things. OpenAI API key if you want to use, and also the LangSmith things is here if you want to have the traces stored in the LangSmith website. And this is also optional. If you don't want these things, then you don't need any API keys. The main reason why I'm showing you this is because if you have the LangSmith, and as you can see here, I have practiced this before, and all the logs, or let's say the traces, are being stored in the LangSmith website. And if you are new to LangSmith website, I'm not going to show you now, but you can watch my previous videos where I have explained what is LangSmith and how you can go through the website. But recently they did a good update from the LangChain side, because this is from the LangChain. So I will probably create a new video soon to explain you all the bits here and there, so you will get up-to-date information about LangSmith, right? So yeah, let me again go back to the VS Code. I can close this now. As I said you, this is the optional things to provide the environment variables. And then what you need to do is first create the virtual environment, right? So you can just copy this, right? I will just go control C. I will go here, control V, and it is going to create a virtual environment for me. So as you can see here, when I run this, the .ve and v is being created here, and I have made in such a way the terminal that it shows the chat with website here, meaning that the virtual environment is being activated. But for you, maybe in front of the terminal, you will see the name of the virtual environment .ve and v in the brackets. Once that is done, our virtual environment is being created and we need to install the packages, right? So I will just copy this, Control V, I will let it run, and I will show you what we have in the requirements.txt. Here is LangChain, LangChain Hub, Streamlit, and ChromaDB, TikTokon, unstructured, and Chainlit. So these are all the packages that is going to be installed, as you can see here. Once that is installed, then we can go and run the applications. So this is installed here, going to be installed. I will go to the first, I will show you what is in the OpenAI, right? So this is all the code in OpenAI, the video I created 6-7 months before. You can follow this if you want to use the OpenAI. But remember that the code, let's say the import format is changed because LangChain has recently optimized their package and the import things might not work as it is here. So what I did now is updated the code as of recent. As you can see here, there is langchain underscore community dot vector stores import chroma, and but before we just have langchain dot vector stores import chroma, right? So all these different things I have modified it into the latest working version, so it should work for you also. I'm not going with OpenAI, but I'm going with first with the chat with website Ollama, right? As I said you also before, there must be the dependencies, right? What is the dependency? Ollama must be installed, and then you need to install something. If you are new to Ollama, I have created the videos. Please follow this in order to install Ollama as well as the open source models using Ollama, right? But what I'm going to show you here is, for example, if I go here and type Ollama list, it will show me all the models here. As you can see, there is Llama 2, Lava, and Mistral, meaning that I have Ollama installed, right? The main reason, the main, let's say, just is Ollama must be running locally so that we can use that into our application locally. That is the simplest possible thing. This is just the normal importing things. I don't need to explain. And also this one, as I said you before also, this is optional. If you want or if you have LangSmith, you can follow this, else it is even not needed. Yeah, so this is the thing. I'm creating a function called main, and this is the streamlit things. I give the title. There is the header. Okay, install, input your website URL and have the conversation into it, and insert the website URL here. So this is normal things. And there is a loader. I'm using the base web based loader in order to use the URL, and data.loader is here. All the things are the same. I don't need to explain you because I have already explained that in my previous video. But the difference here is, instead of OpenAI embeddings, we are going to use the Ollama embeddings, and we provide the model Mistral. You can provide the model as you want because by default, if you hover on top of it, it is using the Llama 2. But I'm going to use the Mistral. But I already have the default Llama 2 model installed. So if I just leave this empty also, it is going to work because it is going to take the Llama 2 which is installed locally. So that's how you can quickly switch between the different models. And that's the beauty of Ollama. And yeah, this is the normal things. I'm going to create a vector database and persist that. And when I run these persist things, the .db folder is going to be created here. And again, I'm going to use the Ollama to use the model Mistral, right? This is the Ollama, and embedding is Ollama embeddings. We don't need to go behind the code, but just one line here and there will do the trick from changing from OpenAI models to open source models, right? So yeah, that's all the things. We do the retrieval here, and then we just print the response. I haven't made this code complicated. I'm just replicating the existing code. That's all. So how can I run now? I can go here, and this is the Streamlit application. So I need to go here and run, as you can see here, Streamlit run chat with website ollama.py. That's all. Just enter. And now it is going to open a new Streamlit website. Yeah, it is running here. It's a chat with website. These are the things that we provided, and we can now insert the website URL. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to provide this Sora. By the way, this Sora is the new model by OpenAI. If you haven't, just go through the link. But I'm going to provide this URL and ask the questions related to it. I will just ask one simple question: what is Sora, right? For that, I need to go to my applications. I will just paste the link here. That's how we paste it. And I will ask the question here: what is Sora model from OpenAI? Yeah, just this. And I will submit the query. So now what will happen? It's behind the scene. The embeddings will be happening, the chunking things will happen, and all the things are handled by LangChain, by the code that we provided. And when we ask the question, it is going to go through that Chroma DB, persistent DB, or knowledge base, and it provides the answer for us. As you can see here, it is running, meaning that all the things are happening behind the scene. And yeah, what is Sora model from OpenAI? It's a Sora is a diffusion model developed by OpenAI that generates videos based on text instructions or animates existing still images. So yeah, this is the answer that we get from open source. We are not paying anything. The video that I showed you before about OpenAI also, it was taking some time. The latency might be the issue, but still the answer is provided quite correct here. If I maybe go ahead and ask some other questions which is not related to Sora, maybe I will go here and say what is LangChain. Let's see, right? What will happen? I will submit this. It shouldn't provide me the answer because LangChain information is not in that URL. But let's see if it works or not, because sometimes it doesn't work. That's the reason that there are multiple models. You can choose among any. Some works, some doesn't works. I need to submit the query. Okay, now it is running. Let's see if it provides the answer or not. It's going behind the scene. By the way, what is happening behind the scene? If you go to the terminal, you can see here all the things will be shown here in the terminal. What is happening when you ask the question? Let me go here. Okay, it says that LangChain appears to be a term that is not widely recognized or defined in the context of technology in AI research. It's possible that it could refer to specific projects. Okay, however, and all the different things, it's just providing things. But yeah, it is not there, it is not providing, and then it provides hallucinating, let's say, in a way that it's just making answers here. So yeah, this is how you can just provide the URL and ask the questions. That's the simple application using open source model. I hope that is clear now. So now let me go with the next part where we will be first ingesting the URLs and then asking the questions. And by the way, I'm going to use Chainlit for this case, right? So now if I go to this ingest.py, as you can see here, all the necessary import things are here. This is just the normal import things. And I have this Ollama embeddings and Chroma as before. So what I'm doing here is providing the URLs. And by the way, for this, there is unstructured URL loader in LangChain. So we are going to use this, and this is using the unstructured package behind the scene. And by the way, unstructured is one of the best library out there to deal with different file formats and to ingest the documents into the loaders. So yeah, this is what I'm providing here. I'm providing two different URLs. As you can see here, one is the GPT for all. If we want to see what is here, so this is just the GPT for all documentation. And the next one I'm using is the Ollama Llama 2. I will be just asking questions related to these two URLs, right? So here I provide these two URLs, and now here is the URL loader. I am using the unstructured loader and passing the URLs. And after that, we load this, and then we do the recursive character text splitter. We pass that different chunks, and if you want to overlap chunks or not, overlapping chunks, I hope you know that if there is two chunks, if we relate somehow to the previous one, we get the better answer. So yeah, and then there is the text splitter dot split documents, and we pass that loaded documents inside it. And then we create the Ollama embeddings. So this is how we create the embeddings as before also, and we pass the model. As you can see, by default Llama 2 is being used. You can use the Llama 2 also, or then we will be using the Mistral in this case. Just play around with this and use the one that best fits your use cases. And here we create a vector database for Chroma.from documents. We pass the chunked documents, we pass the Ollama embeddings, and we persist that into the DB directory, meaning that it will be DB URL. It will be created here in the local folder. And yeah, and then we persist this. And yeah, that's all. So what I can do now is go to the terminal and run Python 3 ingest.py. By the way, when you run this, you might get the error with the partition saying that, let me go to the GitHub, saying that the file type .unk is not working or something like that. So for that, what you need to do is install the libmagic package. So I tried to install with pip, but for some reason it didn't work. So I need to go with the brew install. So as you can see here, somebody mentioned here brew install libmagic, and that helped for me. So it also depends upon you if you find that issue persisting, because although I have this requirement.txt, this libmagic here, it somehow didn't work and I need to install in my local machine. So this is just a hint, or let's say, if you face that issue, that is how you can resolve that. So yeah, now as you can see here, db url is being created and we have all the things inside this particular folder, right? So then what we do, we go to the main.py. If you have followed my previous video or watched my previous videos, this is almost the same, right? Some of the modifications is done here, but we are just using the existing persisted db to create a chainlit application. That's it. So for more details, please watch my previous video also, where I have explained about the simple rag applications for Ollama, Mistral, and so on. So here, as you can see, we are using the prompt from the LangChain Hub, and we are using the Mistral model inside the Ollama, and also we are using the Ollama embeddings. That's what we need to use, because the same embeddings needs to be used when retrieving the information and when creating the embeddings. So yeah, this is just a simple code from Chainlit documentation I have taken, and we will be running this, and it will show us some sources also from where it is taken. So yeah, I will go to the terminal and clear the screen first, and now I'm using Chainlit, by the way, not the Streamlit. So how to run it is same as Streamlit. You just do chainlit run and the Python file name. I will be running main.py. So we will be going and asking the questions related to that two, let's say, URLs, right? I have already tested this and there is some questions here. So I'll be just going here and saying, what is Llama 2? This is the question, right? I'll ask this. Now what is happening, it is going through that persistent things. And by the way, when this is running in the UI, as you can see here in the terminal also, it is providing the answer. So Llama 2 is a collection of large language models from Meta platforms, and then you can see there is these sources also. If I go here and maybe ask some another question about what is GPT for all API, and if I just ask this question, and just to reference you, if I go to the ingest.py and if I go to, let's say, GPT for all paper, and here I am asking the question from this part, right? GPT for all paper, what is the GPT for all API? It should give something related to the REST APIs. And yeah, it's already mentioned here in the URL, GPT for all API is a REST API or something like that. But let me go to the UI. Okay, GPT for all API is a REST API under initial development that provides endpoints for gathering completion and embeddings from large language models. Okay, it's it's correct, right? So you get the idea. I'm not going to go and ask many questions and try to prove that this is correct, but you get the idea now that using the open source models, you can have the chat with websites. And by the way, many of you asked also that how to change the model. I will now show you one example how to change the model, right? So let me just cancel this. This is just a bonus things for you. I will clear this first. I will remove this db url, right? Db url. Now our embedding is gone. In the ingest, instead of Mistral, I will not use anything here. I will just do normal things, save it, because it is using Llama 2 by default, and I already have Llama 2 here. If I do Ollama list, as you can see, I have Llama 2, right? Yeah, that's all we need to do. We don't even need to provide anything here. I will now run the embedding part. So Python, right? Python ingest.py. So it is going to ingest using the default Llama 2, and it is going to be created here. And now if I go to main.py also, I will go here, and in here it is using the Mistral prompt. I can just uncomment this because I don't want to use the Mistral prompt for Llama 2. And here also I don't even need to provide the chain type. So what I can do here is just uncomment this and use the default prompt. And if I go here, I can remove this model here. And also in the main model part, I can go to the, where is the model part? LLM here, right? I can run here. I think I can just I can just use normal things, but let's provide Llama 2 here. That's it. Now we have from Mistral to Llama 2 quite easily, right? So now our ingesting is done. We can just now run the app. So I will run chainlit run main.py. it should run as usual, right? And yeah, here is the things. I will go here and ask again, okay, what is GPT for all API, and ask the question, which is going to provide us the answer. Yeah, based on the provided context, GPT for all AI refers to this. So as you can see here, it's just providing the answers now, but you can now go and play around and see which model performs the best, because you don't need to pay for any API calls, let's say, because it is using Ollama behind the scene. So yeah, that's how quickly you can do. I hope you find this video helpful, and of course you can tweak the models here and there. You can even create your own model using Ollama from the Hugging Face and so on. If you need this kind of videos, I can create in the future. But now I hope you can have a simple applications running locally. For the chat with website, you can just paste the websites that you want to have the conversation with and just have a simple UI. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.